hmm Hi, guys. We are on. It's the show before the show, getting some things ready today. You know what we do here? We'll ease into everything. It is a Monday, June 12th. Mondays are always packed. No different today. That's for sure. It's cancelthisshow.com for people who are getting ready to jump in. We appreciate everybody jumping in for the show today. So much to cover. Good morning, Lizzie. Appreciate you. Lizzie does all of our live chat, as you know. She is doing it live from Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri for our national audience. Good morning, Annette and Kim. Good morning, Karen with the C. Good morning from New Hampshire. We love it. We have people all across the country, and that's what we always talk about. We know people who jump in early, core listeners when you can. Yeah, miss you too, Lizzie. Trisha, good morning. We do so much appreciate you guys doing what you can to support us, to send out notes, to share, like, subscribe, all of those situations. We have had people who've donated to us. It's tough running the business. It is. We're looking, we're trying to get advertisers, and I continue to talk to these national guests that we have, and they're like, man, that's a great show, and ask about advertising opportunities and ideas, and like, wait a minute, this show is great. I mean, you guys are national great. He's like, you need help with advertisers? I'm like, yes. Yeah, for whatever reason, we're just trying to sell this show. It's not easy. It's expensive. So if anybody has ideas, please let us know. I'm not afraid to say it. We want to keep this thing going, or at least going at full speed where we are now with all of the players that we have. So we're always open. Business ideas, money ideas, donations, and we're grateful for those of you who have donated. Without you two, we wouldn't even be at this point. So it is a big thing. We're looking for people who can go out and sell the show, explain it. Um, but we definitely need ideas. We definitely need help when it comes to what we're trying to do here, because we love what we do and we think it's good and we think it's needed. And we think we have a good group. I love the group setting, and if we can keep that at all possible, that's what we want, is the group setting. I think it separates us, our chemistry, and what we've done in radio for so long as we're putting together the show today. Hi, Paul. Good morning to you again. Another Kim. Good morning to you as well. Let's see. By the way, we got Brad Young coming up at 8:15. I don't think he's so excited about Trump's situation, believe it or not. I disagree. Um, Facebook user says, aside from Facebook, how can this show be viewed? It's easy. You go to canceltheshow.com and you have platforms. You can watch us live, or you can watch us after the show's live. As a matter of fact, most like 90, over 95% of the watches and listens are not live. Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all can watch us. And then, of course, about 30 minutes after the show each day, 10 o'clock Central Time, we have the show downloaded on your usual suspects audio list, Google, Apple, Spotify, iHeart. You can do that as well. But we just feel like we really have a good product. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We like to think we do. We're continually told day in, day out. So we're just trying to sell it, and or get somebody to back us for 4 months, 3 months, 6 months, just to back us, to help us, to partner with us. because we see how everything's going to podcast, and we really like that. So when you share the show, when you donate, if you have ideas when it comes to partnering with us, a business standpoint. Hi, Tabitha. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Tabitha has a really new house, big new house, and she is happy.
It took me 2 hours to drive here, but I'm here.
It is we're spanning the country this morning.
It didn't really take that long.
No, but we're excited. It took you a long time to find that. But we are grateful for all of your guys' support, ideas, stories. Anyway, so Brad's coming in at 8:50, or he's going to be on live with us at 8:15. Big Brad and his big mic, bringing big news. He seems, just in some of the talk, he seems a little worried about Trump.
37 indictments.
I know. But once again, the way you can roll out an indictment can make it sound like a lot more.
It can. I'm not personally worried.
Neither am I. Hey, when Mitch McConnell came out yesterday and said, "Oh, we're done with Trump," I was like, "Okay, Trump's gonna be fine." Mitch McConnell, but it is the GOP Senate. We're done with Trump. I'm like,
they never liked him to begin with. They never liked him to begin with. And I wouldn't doubt it if they didn't pay DeSantis to run against him. I would not.
This has been a plan, and we'll get into it. It's definitely, that's why so many people are jumping in the race. They know there's a plan behind the scenes that's being on. That's why you have no-namers. Oh, I'm running, because they know there's a plan of attack to go after Trump.
No question.
It's a Bendy. What's the status of the New York indictment? It's supposed to be heard next summer, right? Not this summer.
Again,
next summer.
Something else that will nothing.
Nothing's new here. This is why I don't think it's a big. So much stuff has been thrown against the wall, and it's from the moment he was elected and messed up the apple cart, the bad apple cart. Good morning, Heather. It was some of those stuff. So we got that 8:15. Ty Dennis coming in just a couple of minutes today at 9:00, promoting an event he has coming up. I want to ask him, Ty, as a Democrat, can you really vote Joe Biden over any of the Republican candidates?
I hope we do.
In good conscience? Come on, Big Ty. You call it straight how it is.
How can anyone vote for Joe Biden?
Oh, man.
I mean, literally. I don't understand it, Vic. I don't get it. How could you?
So it's this whole Trump thing. We'll get into a list of what was also going on Friday. This show has always been about that. Tabitha talked about it from the first day I met her, and I thought she was cuckoo. And then she became less cuckoo to me because she was right more than she was wrong.
You woke up to the reality of what's going on in the world.
I go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And then you can't make this crap up. So much was going on Friday. Big news. I'm telling you, it is lining up. That's why we love doing these stories and getting that news out there. In regards to, that's why we need help. We do. We need help. And I'm not ashamed to say that when it comes to promoting the show, when it comes to advertisers, we're doing what we can because people are still learning about podcast and the value. But the best part about this, as compared to radio, we show advertisers with direct links, who's watching, who's not. Radio, it doesn't happen that way.
That's true.
It's all
just a big guess.
It's, where's my guy? Where's Jerry? I was waiting for Jerry to say something. Anyway.
I doubt Jerry's up yet.
I thought I saw him earlier. So we got a lot to get, and we're going to start on time because we got that. We'll give you the whole rundown here in just a second, but we're going to go ahead and start the show. We'll start Cancel This now. Welcome into cancelthisshow.com. Time to pick up the energy. It is Wakey Monday, June 12th. Cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel. Eric Johnson coming in. Lizzie Sparks running the chat line live from beautiful Lake of the Ozarks, where hope she has some good weather this morning. I think I saw some sunshine in her post. Pro Joe making us look as good and sound as good as we always can. Packed all the way till 10 o'clock Central Time today. And then, of course, if you're watching us live or if you missed something or if you have to leave, you can always go back and catch us at cancelthisshow.com. Cancelthisshow.com. News, politics, society, business, cancel culture. We have it all. By the way, I have a cancel culture story to get into later today. The Mumford Sons guitarist striking back. You may remember his whole life changed. He flew upside down. He quit literally one of the world's most popular bands because he backed a journalist who dared write anything against Antifa in a book. So he had so much crap. The mob came after him that he had to quit the band to help the band. He quit. Anyway, we'll tell you what he's doing these days and not giving up. Love the guy. Love him as I jumped in and learned a little bit more about what he's about. Okay, coming up on the show, 8:15, Brad Young. We love our local attorney who jumps in, the canceltheshow.com attorney, legal advisor when it comes to these issues. I think he thinks Donald Trump's in trouble. I don't, but maybe he'll educate me today. That's why we bring on the expert.
That's right.
We'll get into some other issues when it comes to Donald Trump as well. And what happened on Friday when all of this stuff was going down. Thursday and Friday, once again, we give you Donald Trump news, so nobody's covering the other things. Stuff will piss you off. It'll blow your mind. We've also got, while all of this is going on, and of course it's Pride Month, the White House breaking code barriers with the placement of the pride flag. It's almost like we'll stick you. We're going to stick you guys. We're going to let you see we're going to try to find out how serious you are about your patriotism, what's real, what's not, everything that's going on from that standpoint. Is the gay flag, is the pride flag the flag of all those who are gay?
No.
You're going to see a video about that. Our good friend Ty Dennis from Clippers and Cops comes in studio at 9:00. Promote a couple things. He'll be in for a couple of minutes. I'd love to get his take. Tab's take today.
It's going to be very interesting, isn't it?
8-foot, 10-foot aliens running around Arizona. Did they escape from Roswell?
Think about it. I mean, it reminds me of what
New Mexico's
Senator
close.
Kennedy said. Lock your doors, Americans. Lock your doors.
Oh, my God.
They are here.
We'll get into the cancel culture story if we have time. George Soros' son, now running the operation, did his first interview. Another company, hold my beer, Budweiser, Target, Kohl's. And now it's breakfast cereals. Targeting who? Kids. And just waiting to hear what a judge in Washington State told a all-women spa where you have to be naked about who they have to accept when it comes in to their groups. Anyway, we'll get Democrat Drew says Trump has a better shot at winning the lottery than getting out of 37 charges. So, okay, there you go. The shot has been fired. This is canceltheshow.com. Please check out our partners or advertisers. As we say, we're looking for help. We need people to upsell the show. We started thinking about this last week. We had a couple national guests last week. Like, man, the show is great. How are you market this way? I was like, we got to have the funds to do that. We're startup, grassroots. We do this, other job. We have other jobs. And he's like, well, put a call out to your listeners, your podcast viewers, listeners. See if they know people that would sponsor, even just for a short time. Jump in, push. That's what we want to do. We want to take this as big as we possibly can. And we're grateful for your donations and everybody who jumps in on the show as well. So please support our advertisers if you can as well. Back with the show right after this.
And now it's here, the unveiling of the latest Carroll House lifestyle collections. I'm Brooke with my sister Amy, inviting you to see 3 football fields of the latest styles.
Our new lifestyle collections are premium quality furniture made exclusively for us and available only at Carroll House.
The attention to detail is unmatched, and so is the value, nearly half the price of a typical gallery store.
Plus, get free financing, delivery, and in-home design. Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Marco, wait. What, no response? Hi, I'm Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the car.
Kathy Obig Strick, owner of Experienced Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar, Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. Hey, welcome back into cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tap of the Hassle, Eric Johnson, Lizzie Sparks taking care of the open chat line from Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. We appreciate that, Lizzie. Also, Pro Joe making us looking good as sound as always from the engineering standpoint. Let's jump right into this because at 8:15 we have attorney Brad Young coming in to discuss the whole Donald Trump issue, the charges, serious or not, from the indictment. But first, it is interesting when Democrats like Matt Taibbi and Chris Cuomo are going, this is a nothing burger. Literally from News Nation. Check out what they had to say from News Nation. Here it is. Their breakdown of Donald Trump.
I'm sorry, Vic. Which one?
Oh, wait a second. You know what? That's the Cuomo video. I had to jump over because of time. I threw you for a loop. I'm sorry.
I think we know what Cuomo is going to say.
Well, anyway, what it is here it is. We've got a situation where even Democrats are like, there's nothing here. There's just nothing here.
They just want, they're going to drag it out. Think about that. They want the optics that he's guilty of something more than what it is. And they're going to drag it out as long as they can, hoping that some of the folks on the fence are going to vote DeSantis instead of Trump.
Or, yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Here it is. Just take a listen.
It seems to expose the fact that they go after him with what seems to be at or below a level of anything that would be impressive to people reviewing the documents. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm obviously not a fan of Donald Trump. I wrote a book about the guy called Insane Clown President. But, you know, my feeling is if you're going to take the very extreme step of indicting somebody who's the likely nominee of the opposition party, the charge has to meet two tests. It has to be extremely serious and it has to be an airtight case. And I think both of these cases fail on both of those points.
Yeah, you know, a buddy of mine who's a very smart guy and a lawyer, but, you know, just a kind of consumer of all things relevant like yourself. He was like, hey, I don't care that it's during the election. The fact that you're running shouldn't shield you. Maybe he's running because he knows it's his best defense on these things. Maybe, but I think that to the majority, the optics are terrible. If you're swinging at somebody during an election and you don't have what we deem the goods. Now, what does that look like in this case? Do you think it comes down to, well, what are the documents he was keeping?
Well, again, I mean, I think if you are a person who grew up in a third world country, you would recognize this kind of thing as something that happens in a not entirely free society. So that's the optics of this are terrible. I mean, there's no way around it.
Because every time
and those are two Democrats who hate Trump, disrespect Trump, saying there's nothing here. This is all a game. This is all a plot to make sure that Donald Trump cannot run for office again. I don't care if you hate, love, don't care about Donald Trump. We call out the facts here. Give me a break. Give me a freaking break. This whole situation from the get-go. And where are the Republicans trying to impeach? Oh, yeah, the President Biden, with everything else that's going on with that whole situation. Democrat Drew is showing he's a hater. Quote, what are these two talking about? Chris is just a hater. Yeah, I remember when Democrat Drew loved Chris. He loved him. So they don't think there's anything there. Matt Taibbi is connected as hell. He, of course, a Democrat, but also became very popular, in the last 6 months because he was the one who exposed the Hunter Biden and Twitter information that, thank God, we found out about.
They made two of the best points I've heard yet. One is opposition. We are now referring to the other party as opposition. When did we become opponents? Aren't we all fighting for the good of the same country? Why are we considering each other opponents and opposition? And two, what he said was, if we were a third world country, this is a common tactic in other third world countries. And it is, because that's exactly what happened in other countries, is that they arrest the opposing party's leader on ridiculous charges.
I also love when Democrats look to Republicans on the other side going, oh, well, William Barr says he's toast. That means Donald Trump's going down.
Well, Barr's an idiot, so I don't think it means a whole lot of anything.
He's never really had the president's best interest
Of
in hand.
course he has.
And there's a long line of that happening. But then you have Mitch McConnell, who says he's a rhino. Most people call him a rhino. The latest polling showed that Republicans, by over a 70% margin, wanted him gone, didn't want to hear from him, didn't want him to have any leadership whatsoever with the Senate. Comes out and says the Senate is turning its back on Donald Trump. They said they're done. And it wasn't just Mitch McConnell. It was also John Cornyn, John Thune, guys who have more respect in the Republican Party.
More respect from who?
More respect within the party.
Within the party of the establishment.
Within the party of
the establishment. And so to
because
me,
I know what you mean when you talk about establishment. But they say they're moving on from Donald Trump. And guess what?
And they probably will.
Just because of, quote, allegations. It's almost as if it's a plan. Oh, well, the indictment came out on Friday and on Sunday. Oh, well, we're turning our back on
They're
them.
probably part of the indictment. I mean,
it pisses me off when I see this stuff happening. It's just, we're trying to call it all out because, you're not going to hear local news, national news, call this stuff out like we do.
They're all part of the same team. The establishment Republicans are as bad as the Democrats. They really are. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. And I'm not going against DeSantis because I still like DeSantis. And I don't have proof of this, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have these backroom meetings with DeSantis saying, hey, we will make sure you get the vote, you get the nominee, and we're going to go after Trump, and we're going to try to turn as many people against him as we possibly can. Because you know what? Those people that you just named, they're all sellouts.
Here's the thing that gets me. We kept asking for weeks, why are all these Republicans who know they have no shot continuing to run? Well, maybe it's because they want a shot at maybe being a vice presidential candidate on the Republican side with a Donald Trump, because he has a massive, and we mean massive, lead over DeSantis. Well, the only way to try to take down somebody, as we have seen from the moment Donald Trump arrived in politics, were attacks over and over and over and over and over again. And I've brought up his shortcomings plenty of times here. However, when you look at what has happened, I don't know. I got a feeling Donald Trump will be laughing and smiling at the end of this, but there are people, including our next guest, that disagree with that whole philosophy that no, he's going to have some issues.
I'm 50-50 on it. I don't think that the indictment will stick. I don't think that he'll spend a day in jail. I don't think any of these things will happen. I think they'll drag it out as long as they can and pass the election, but the biggest part is the damage by then will be done, in their opinion.
Possible plea deals where he would run, but I couldn't see Donald Trump accepting a plea deal and saying, I will never run.
I can't see him accepting a plea deal for when he didn't do anything wrong. That's the whole point. But the problem that I have is I really do feel like so many people, so many Republicans, so many members of the GOP, they're as against Trump as Democrats are. They're going to do anything they can. Do you really think they wanted Donald Trump to be the nominee in 2020?
No, they didn't.
Or at any point in history. Of course they didn't.
Well, it's interesting, too, because he's supposed to, quote, turn himself into Miami tomorrow. And I already hear liberals, and they're angry because the judge that's overseeing this case was appointed by Donald Trump in 2020. So you start breaking it down. Liberals, oh, that's not fair. It's just not fair. Judge Eileen Cannon was appointed by Trump. And they don't like how she's been handling the case already. They're asking, demanding, saying that she needs to recuse herself from the case. It's very interesting because so many times in life, as we see with people, and we bring out on the show, people say, I'm tolerant. I'm so tolerant. I need other people to be tolerant until something happens that you don't like. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm not tolerant. I'm only tolerant of things that I like. I believe that I associate with.
You're talking about those liberals again, right?
It might be.
Because we conservatives, we are literally the party.
We want everybody to come and talk. We're just trying to call it all out.
Well, we're the party of tolerance,
just don't be fake.
Look what we've had to tolerate over the past several years.
Well,
we have had to tolerate a lot.
Well, we know he's a lightning rod for controversy, and that's why we wanted to get our brain. Big brain Brad and his big mic jumping in this morning from Harris-Dowell, Fisher and Young, our good friend. Brad Young, I got a feeling that you're not as sunshine, lemonade, cookies, poolside on this Donald Trump indictment as I may be. Okay. Well, we just lost his sound. That's unfortunate. We'll get him back in here in just a second. Brad will figure that out. We'll take care of that in just a second. I know a lot of people like, oh my God, it's 37 indictments. Again, he's got his New York situation going on yet again. We're all going to freak out. Donald Trump's going away.
I could indict you 37 times for the most ridiculous stuff. And it means absolutely nothing but slander is what it is.
You indicted Eric for wearing his Adidas jumpsuit last week.
And I will indict him once again.
From that standpoint. So you're going to continue to hear what's happening with everything going on with this situation with Donald Trump, the indictments. It's going to be all over the media. And the other thing is we wait to talk to Brad when we get that situation taken care of are things that are going on that you may not be hearing about, because all of a sudden, what does this become? This has become the big story. It's the driving story of what's happening, what's not happening. And it should make you think about this. Just keep this in mind. While this was all going on Friday, guess what else was happening? The news drop day of the week where big stories get dropped so that everybody doesn't cover it on a Friday. They're already looking towards the weekend in this wonderful country, this wonderful life that God's given us that's slowly deteriorating because we don't appreciate it. Mark Zuckerberg. You've heard of him. No, we got Brad back. Okay, we'll jump back in with Brad before I get into that list because it will not be a list that you want to miss. Brad, should Trump supporters be concerned? And if so, why?
Yes, they should be concerned. And good morning, Vic. Good morning, Tabitha. I've read the entire 49-page indictment. Basically, what it comes down to, if I could just summarize everything for you and then give you some analysis, there are 37 counts in this indictment. Now, 31 of them fall under the Espionage Act. So they're basically, as I've read through them, they're basically the same crime, alleged crime, that's repackaged for a different part of the espionage statute. So as I look at it, I see basically 7 main charges. And looking over those charges, all of it, 100% of it, deals with the document retention, not the document possession. Now, what do I mean by that? None of it deals with anything before the feds, the DOJ, sent a subpoena to Trump and his team to return these documents to the National Archives. So all of this indictment, every bit of it, deals with from the issuance of the subpoena forward in time So it's not merely the possession of the documents. If you want to compare it to Biden keeping them in his garage next to his Corvette, but the difference is that this is from the point where the DOJ demanded the return of those documents, issued a subpoena, and Trump, not only himself, and there's I think blistering testimony from eyewitnesses who were there, text messages from his employees, where he instructed them to obstruct justice, told his employees, even told his attorneys, and the DOJ broke the attorney-client privilege here, which I'll get into in a moment when we're talking about what is the strengths of his case. But there's even information in the indictment from the attorneys where the DOJ forced the attorneys to divulge their notes because the attorney-client privilege can be severed or pierced in situations where attorneys work in conjunction with their client to commit a crime. So I think it's very, very damning for the former president. And unlike my analysis for the situation in New York, which is it's all political, they may get a conviction in New York City, but up on appeal, there's no way that this thing stands. My analysis of the situation at Mar-a-Lago is completely different.
Brad, why didn't they ask Joe Biden to return all the documents, or did he do so voluntarily? I know this is all about the slow walk, getting the documents back to the archive. And there's also reports that Trump declassified those documents, that they weren't even classified any longer. What do you have to say about all of this?
Well, and there's a specific answer for both of those things. With regard to Joe Biden, he did return those voluntarily. At no point was there any subpoena issued to force Biden to return the documents because he did so voluntarily, just like Mike Pence did, just like every president has done. Sandy Berger in 2005, who was the national security advisor for Clinton, he actually went into the National Archives, took documents, shoved them down his pants, and left, and then shredded the documents. Yeah. And he had almost no punishment of any kind. So the issue isn't the possession of the documents. The issue is when you're ordered to return them, how do you respond? And that's the difference between Biden and Trump here, because Biden never refused to return them. Trump did.
Talking with Brad Young of Hairstyle, Fisher & Young, one of the best commentators you're going to find on any of these topics that come up from a political standpoint when it comes to the contracts, when it comes to the black and white details of the law. Brad, I find it very difficult to believe that this intelligent man who likes to set traps for everybody else would intentionally do something or lose his luster, so to speak, when it comes to doing what he did. Are you thinking he did this from a pride standpoint, or is he trying to set somebody else up because he felt like he was set up?
Well, it's hard to necessarily get into motivation here without Trump saying what his motivation was. However, analyzing it, I think if you're in a billionaires club, what do you have to compete with other billionaires? Well, look, I've got Mar-a-Lago. Well, they've got their own estates. Well, look, I've got Secret Service protection. Well, they've got their own professional security protection. But if you can say, look, here, I've got the plans for how the United States intends to nuke Iran, that's something, if you were playing the one-upsmanship game, nobody else on the planet can compete with that. But let me get back to Tabitha's question about the declassification. Even if you assume, and I think you're going to find in this case that Trump is going to have the upper hand when it comes to whether these documents were declassified or not, because he was the president at the time. But there's two flaws with that theory. And again, I call it like I see it. I don't put political twists on it. First of all, you've got an audio tape of President Trump stating, I never got around to declassifying some of these documents when I was president, and I can't declassify them now because I'm no longer president. He says that on an audio tape. So that is proof that there's some documents that he had that were not declassified. But secondly, even if they were, let's just assume for discussion purposes that all the documents that he had, the ones we've seen stacked in the bathroom at Mar-a-Lago, stacked on the stage at Mar-a-Lago, stacked in a bedroom at Mar-a-Lago in just banker's boxes, cardboard boxes. Even if you assume for discussion purposes that all of those were declassified, when the Department of Justice issues a subpoena, they weren't saying, we want you to return classified documents. They were saying, we want you to return these documents without specifying whether they are or are not classified. So at that point, you have a duty to return them, regardless of whether they're classified or not classified. So their classification status is irrelevant to the compliance with the subpoena. So once that subpoena comes, it doesn't matter their classification status. You have to turn those over pursuant to the subpoena. His refusal to do so, his failure to do so, and his instructions to his attorneys to lie about it, which is in the indictment, to tell them we don't have any documents, even though the attorneys are telling them that we do. All of those things are elements of the crime, regardless of their classification status.
How long do you think they'll drag this out?
Well, personally, I don't see any way this case can get to trial before the election. I really, truly don't.
Of course not.
I just don't. The election is more than a year and a half away. This case isn't going to trial anytime soon. But what's in Trump's favor here is the judge that's been assigned, Judge Eileen Cannon. She was the judge who oversaw some of the previous legal issues with President Trump. And if she excludes the evidence from the attorneys, and to me, that's the linchpin of this entire case, that if the court rules that evidence was illegally obtained because it pierced the attorney-client privilege, and you cannot use an attorney's discussions with his client or with her client, you cannot be used as evidence. If that evidence gets excluded, now it's a far more difficult case for the feds to prove against President Trump. And to me, that should be the focus of all analysis in this case moving forward, as to how the judge deals with that from an evidentiary standpoint.
And Trump attorneys are already saying this is another one of those mob action hit style deals where the president didn't do anything wrong. They're pretty out there direct about this too. Clearly, your attorney's not going to go out and say my client's guilty. I get that, but they're saying watch and see. You just wait and see. Nothing will come out of this.
Nothing will come out of it,
is what they continue to say. Now, it is also interesting, Brad. I brought this up a little earlier in the show. You brought up Judge Cannon. You have several liberal, progressive left analysts and political people saying that she should recuse herself because Trump appointed her in 2020, that she is a Trumper, so to speak, as a judge, and they don't like it. So they don't feel that Trump's going to be, I'll say the word persecuted, not prosecuted, persecuted like he should.
No, she will not be forced to recuse herself because of the fact that she was appointed by Trump. If you look at the history of the legal system, who nominates a judge has never, at least to my knowledge, that in of itself cannot be the basis for ordering a judge to recuse himself or herself. There has to be evidence of a bias. Now, what they could do, and I think this is something that the Justice Department will eventually do, depending on the rulings. The Justice Department even said last week, we have no problems with Judge Cannon. But at some point, if the DOJ wants to get a different judge, they can do that. In other words, they can request a change of judge in this case. But I don't see them doing so until there's some evidentiary basis. For example, if the judge rules in ways that they don't like, at that point, they may request a change of judge, but not just because she was appointed by Trump, but based upon her actions in the case.
Brad, I think this is going to help Trump more than it hurts him, because I think those of us who really like Trump, not necessarily for the man himself, but for the great job he did for this country in making this country great again for the time he was sitting in that chair. Mm-hmm. I think some of us will look at this and we'll see it for the witch hunt that it is, because we know, look at all of the people who had classified documents who had no right to have them. Biden shouldn't have even had them. He was a vice president. Mike Pence shouldn't have had classified documents. He's a vice president. But they're not going after them. Those two should have never had classified documents to begin with. They couldn't go after Trump for having the classified documents. They just like they've done so often in the past, they overturn every single stone looking for a potential indictment, thinking they're going to alienate the folks on the fence. They place Ron DeSantis in there at the right moment just for those people to have somewhere to turn. I feel like we're living in a third world country. We're employing the tactics they do in third world countries, where when you have a government like ours, it's not two parties, it's several factions within the same parties. And they are going after Trump. I think the only thing it's going to do is help him.
Well, we certainly saw after the indictment in New York, Tabitha, that his fundraising, he raised millions of dollars after he was indicted in New York. And I'll be the first to tell you that indictment in New York was 100% political. It doesn't make any sense legally. It will not be upheld on appeal, even if he's convicted by a New York jury. But when I look at this case, Tabitha, I do see a difference personally from a legal perspective, because Biden was never issued a subpoena because he returned the documents voluntarily.
But he shouldn't have had them.
He shouldn't have had them. But that's, as I've told you before, in the history of document retention, that has never been seen as a major crime as long as you give them back. But that's the difference, is that Trump didn't give them back. And in fact, there's text messages and in this discussion between Trump and his attorneys where he tells them, well, what happens if we just don't produce anything? How is that going to happen? How is that going to affect us? And so he's instructing his attorneys to not comply with a subpoena. That's a crime. So even if the underlying action is not viewed as being criminally significant, the possession of documents, the fact that you are instructing your attorneys to withhold evidence when it comes to the issuance of the subpoena and the compliance with the subpoena, that is the legal problem. So I don't see this as being like the New York situation. I do agree with you that this is a witch hunt in terms of let's find anything we can to prosecute this man. That's clearly going on. But if I'm just looking at it from a legal perspective, I see this as being very substantial as opposed to the other ways that they're going after him.
Brad Young with us. He does not have his Democrat card. We promise you.
No, he doesn't.
I do not.
And you don't sound like a Democrat. There's no doubt about that. You have always been absolutely fantastic. Someone on the comment line asked, can Trump pardon himself if he wins?
This, and I was hoping you were going to get into this. I was really hoping.
You should run on it.
I have looked into this issue extensively, and I've analyzed it going back even to reading the Federalist Papers from the 1700s. And and the bottom line, no matter what you hear from the mainstream media, the bottom line is we don't know. It's never happened. It's never been done. And there is no legal precedent one way or the other. If you just look at the text of the Constitution, which I always do, because I'm an originalist, I look at it and I say, let's interpret it in the way that it was passed, not through the lens of our more and more progressive society. If the power of the president to pardon is as it is in the Constitution, then he can pardon himself. And the only way that you can get around that is to try to read something else into the Constitution by saying, well, you would be above the law, then the laws wouldn't apply if you could pardon yourself. In other words, you have to bring exterior analysis into the mix. If you just look at the Constitution, he can pardon himself.
Very interesting, I love it. Isn't it?
Well, big brain Brad and his big mic stick. We love you when you come in and talk to us, my friend. Can you remind people how they can catch up with you?
Well, right now I've had to take a sabbatical from KMOX because of the busyness of my law office. So I did. I had to let them know that I can't do any hosting on KMOX for probably the next couple of months until I can hire somebody to help me out with my legal work. But I will still be on every Wednesday morning giving kind of a legal update for the prior week every Wednesday morning on KMOX at 8:35. And because I can do that right here from my desk with my big mic here, I don't have to go out into the studio. So for the time being, that's the only place you can catch me is at 8:35 a.m. on Wednesdays on KMOX.
Real quick, Trump will never, ever take any sort of a deal.
Never. There is a 0% chance that would ever happen here.
Know that will not happen.
0% chance. Because even if you lose, like I mentioned, there's lots of issues on appeal. And whenever and Trump has a history of this, you could drag this thing out for years, just like he did with his tax returns. And so you could be looking at a situation where Trump could be theoretically elected president and have a conviction,
course,
but have it up on appeal, and it could the appeal process could last longer than his 4-year term in office.
Well, he'll never be elected. You know why? Because they will cheat, they will lie, they will steal to make sure he's never in that White House again. I already know that there is zero chance Trump will ever be back in the White House. But look at Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton perjured himself.
I did not do anything.
And what happened with that? Absolutely nothing.
Well, he was convicted. Yes. Well, he was convicted.
He was, but it's not like they escorted him out of the White House and said, "Oh, you're going to jail."
No, but he did lose his bar license, and so there was some punishment for it. But frankly, people lie in depositions all the time. In my depositions, people lie all the time, and there's no one is ever punished for lying in a deposition. But he was actually punished, but obviously the punishment was not very severe.
Brad, thank you so much for your time, my friend. Harris, Al, Fisher, and Young, glad to hear that the business is rocking forward and you're busy. We'll talk to you later, bud.
Thanks, guys. Great to talk to you.
Brad.
All right, Brad Young, Harris, Al, Fisher, and Young. He sets it out whether you agree or don't agree. He comes in strong, talking strictly law. And then, of course, he'll give his speculation from that standpoint as well.
Absolutely fantastic.
I don't know where this is going to go, but it's going to be another big media circus today. It'll be another big media circus tomorrow when Donald Trump is in Miami, showing up, turning himself in.
How many people do you think will be out front?
His poll numbers are going to go up. I don't know.
He's going to raise.
Florida, it's different than New York, but it's near Miami. I'm not sure.
Oh, he'll do amazing. He has so many supporters.
It doesn't matter if there's a ton of supporters. They're not going to show them on national media.
Probably not. No, but
maybe
there will
some
be
of the local media there will show it, but not national.
Hopefully,
it's just how it works.
Hopefully, some people there will show. They will take video. They will take photos. Because I would just, out of my own curiosity, I would like to see the support he receives. Vic, I'm so fed up with all this stuff. Look what happened with Bill and Hillary Clinton and all of the things they did. Remember Hillary's?
I know, but
33,000 emails, many of which were classified. Do you remember when she informed her staff, she instructed her staff to destroy their laptops, to destroy their cell phone devices, and nothing ever
They're playing
happened.
on a different level, just like Eric says. It's the Globetrotters and the Washington Generals. The Republicans are the Washington Generals. They follow the script while the Democrats take on the role as the Harlem Globetrotters and dominate anybody on the court. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson, Lizzie Sparks, taking care of the chat line, and of course, Pro Joe here as well. While all of this crap was going on Friday, some things you may have missed. Number one, Mark Zuckerberg actually admitted that he censored COVID information at the request of experts. Even if the information turned out to be true. Once again, on Fridays, the Friday news dump, things that the national media does not want you to know about or those in charge. And isn't it ironic that is just one of the big things that happened on Friday? While everybody's talking Donald Trump, look over here. We need to create some smoke so that you're not able to see the full story. Secondly, and boy, is she a doozy, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, former governor of Michigan, admitted that she lied about her stock holdings during her confirmation hearings. She lied. Never should have been even voted in. This was in her confirmation hearings were going on when she was going to the Senate, and that she only recently unloaded the stocks. That's massive. That's a much bigger deal than anything Donald Trump is alleged to have done.
And nothing will happen. Look at all the things Pelosi's done and all the insider trading. What has happened? Absolutely not a darn thing.
Oh, but there's more. The state of California introduced a bill on Friday that criminalizes parents who refuse to affirm their child's gender decisions. Let me repeat that for you. If that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what will. California introduced a bill that would criminalize parents who don't affirm their child's gender decisions. They're trying to get that passed in California.
So you can not send your kid to school. They can be truant. You don't have to feed your kid. I mean, you can look at all the kids that are being neglected across the state of California. You don't have to have a home for your kid. Look at all the homeless children in California. But if they don't make any laws for that stuff, but if your little boy, let's say your 6-year-old little boy says he's a little girl and you don't agree and you don't nurture that, you're going to be punished.
Yeah. Also,
what kind of world is this?
And then, of course, the story that we had seen, Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out on Friday doing interviews exposing that the FBI has multiple papers on the Biden bribery scandal scheme that they quit investigating in 2020. And guess what? Not one mention of any of these things on national media, local media, which is, again, why you should be coming to our platform, which is why you should be letting people know, donate, sponsor, partnership with us so that we can continue to get this kind of news out there, the free speech where everybody gets to feel comfortable out there getting the full story. These are things that are going on. You can't make the stuff up, as I always say, and where there's smoke, there's fire.
And you're not getting that story from anywhere else. Because you know what? Everybody has a boss, don't they? And I have worked at several different places that have bosses and where you think you can speak freely and you think you can talk about any topic you want. And that is not the truth. There's always a big brother with their little thumb over you saying you cannot speak the truth. But we do here, don't we?
And then with that being said, here's our president where we had another moment last Thursday, Friday time frame where the poor guy is just lost. I mean, lost beyond belief. And I'm not going to pile on again, but he also over the weekend said that he was saying that we have so much support for transgesters now. He called them transgesters. But as bad as that is, this is even worse. He is so lost. Can we play that again without the music, Projo? If it's possible, great. Look, he had just finished speaking. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know where to sit. He's probably going up to sniffer. And then, sir, come back.
I think he was.
And then it's his walk. I mean, he doesn't know.
This, he looks very pale and
Democrats, are you seriously trying to tell me you would vote for that man again because of your hate and your pride against Donald Trump or any Republican because you don't want to admit that you're wrong? It's all right. We make mistakes. I admit that I'm wrong all the time. Guess what? The more you do it, the better you get at it. If you screw up, it's easy. You just go back. I'm sorry, I screwed up. You screwed up voting for this guy. You did. And I'm sorry. There is nothing good about this man. It's the worst administration in the history of our country. And they continue to roll him out. This is what the Democratic Party has done. And you want to vote for that? Why? Just why?
Look at him. You can tell that he's looking up there like he has no idea what's going on. He's like, oh, somebody up there has a baby. am I supposed to be over here by the baby? I'll tell you what, I spent a weekend with my stepfather, 87 years old. I used to be a partial caretaker for my grandmother who was 92 years old.
I guess that's enough of Bernie, Projo, weekend of Bernie's.
Both my 87-year-old stepfather and my 92-year-old grandmother had more cognitive ability than Joe Biden. This is what somebody looks like when they have severely declined to where you're probably having them in a wheelchair most of the time. And then somewhere behind the stage, they say, okay, we know he can make it that far. We're going to let him just do this. But he's going to reach a point where he's not going to be able to even do this.
Well, we know that he's not running the White House. We know that he's not making decisions.
There's no way this guy is making a decision.
Normally, you want somebody that's vibrant and youthful and energetic. If they don't have a brain, at least they look the part. There may not be any substance, but at least they have some style. Joe Biden does not have that. And regarding running this White House, does this piss you off? Where's your patriotism? I'm not sure it does with many Americans, and you didn't hear about it. Projo will show you the flag and what the White House has done. Of course, it's Pride Month, and of course, you can celebrate Pride and do whatever else you want to do with your flag. But check out the White House. Of course, there's a pride flag, the new pride flag, by the way, in the middle, flanked by two American flags. Well, you may not know that according to U.S. Flag Code 7, which reads, the flag of the United States of America should be at the center and at the highest point of the group when a number of flags of states or localities or pennants of societies are grouped and displayed from staffs. Okay, Many Americans are probably, no big deal. What's going on? I'm just letting you know, this is putting a particular group's flag higher than the American flag. Is this going on with other groups? No, just this one group during Pride Month. If you're a military member and you sacrifice your life, you sacrifice your time for our country, the stars and stripes, and then you see that crap out there, how does that make you feel? Think about it. Those things that are going on. You know, not one American soldier fought and bled for that flag, did they? Yet we're going to put that. We did for the country, whether you like the flag or not. You know, taxpayers, are you paying for that flag? I mean, think about it. That's what the White House did over the weekend for Pride Month. And that decision was made allegedly by Joe Biden. He is the president, and this is the worst administration as we talk about. But as Aaron says, sexuality being promoted in this country over the red, white, and blue.
They don't have a choice. You know, they absolutely do not have a choice at the White House, because you know why? Because the folks who are really running the show are the Antifa groups, the people, the Bernie Sanders supporters, because they are holding the White House hostage to some degree, because what they did is they infiltrated our government. The Bernie Sanders socialist supporters, what they did is they worked at the polls. They made sure the cheating happened. They made sure they carried out all of the illegal ballot harvesting. They made sure that Joe Biden got in the White House. And Vic, they've out, you know, and you already know this, most of our listeners know this. The Antifa folks, the Bernie supporters, said, they have literally said on record that we got you this vote, Joe Biden. We made sure you won. We cheated for you. And because we cheated for you, because we made sure you are in that seat, you have to honor our policies.
I'm wondering where it's going.
They've said it.
Is that an Obama decision to do a flag like that? Because even last week in episode number 2 from Tucker Carlson on Twitter, he even made reference to Obama, quote, being gay. He made some interesting references in his super popular second episode. And of course, there's all the conspiracy theories that Joe Biden doesn't know what he's doing. Obama said he would love a third term where he could just sit home on his couch in his sweats and tell somebody else what to do. It reeks of that to me.
It might. I don't even care if Obama's gay. I don't even care if Michelle is really
not
Michael.
About being gay.
I could care less if they're gay. But what I do care about is the fact
flag.
That a flag representing someone's sexuality is hanging at the White House. I only want to see the American flag at the White House.
And here's another issue when it comes to flags. Projo will line this up for you. Just because you see a pride flag, guess what? That doesn't mean that all people who are gay support the pride flag. There are some, and I think it's a growing amount of people who don't say that that flag represents them, especially when it comes to a situation like that with our American flags that are flanking the pride flag that is being promoted for gay people. And just wait till you hear this sound with an individual breaking down how the gay flag is not for them. This situation is one that'll blow your mind. And what you'll hear is somebody explaining this.
If you want to know why kids are confused.
That's not it. That's not it.
Which clip am I looking
for? The one that I went over it with you before the show, buddy. You had the guy up. He's talking about the flag. We looked at him. Sorry, I don't want to call you out, bud. He's one man talking. Hold on. It's the best sound that you could imagine. I'd never heard anybody speak about this, but at the same point in time,
well, you hear more and more people speaking out against it because, you know, I am all for, you know what, people who are gay and at one point had to hide their sexuality and were persecuted. I understand them being proud that they can finally be themselves and live the life they want. Good for you. I want to live the life I want to. But at the same time, that flag, it does not represent our country or the majority of this country. It doesn't belong. No flag belongs with the American flag.
And here it is.
No flag.
Check it out.
This flag does not represent me. When you're a conservative gay and you have conservative traditional values, It doesn't represent you. I am tired. I am tired of this community trying to represent me and the millions of people that support people like me. And the people in this building are upset because they think that they're being marginalized. Do you see Chinese people in here upset that we're not flying the Chinese flag on Chinese New Year's? No. You see my community, the gay people that want to be marginalized, that make victims of ourselves. This flag that I'm standing on no longer represents me. This is not your fault. I'm not yelling at you. I'm upset because people like this are constantly representing my community. They make us look like fools. They make us look dumb. And I'm tired of it. This flag does not represent everyone. With liberty and justice for all. That flag, this flag, the American flag, 13 stripes and 50 stars represent us. Not this. Not this. And if the gay community would wake up, we wouldn't have this pushback. Stop indoctrinating children. Pride flag.
And then you see what's going on. I just think it's a passionate plea. Just because you want to take over and cancel me because I'm gay, because I don't want to be a Democrat, shame on you. And how dare you put a flag on me and you tell me I have to support this flag because I'm gay.
And the flag I don't know about what you guys think. I think it's starting to be almost weaponized. It's almost starting to represent violence because we know there are people in that group who are starting to commit crimes. They're starting to, what was the deal in Nashville? Remember, we had the trans female who shot up a school. They killed the pastor's daughter. And what did she have on her gun, on her weapon? A trans power sticker. And have you heard anyone talk about it?
Well, you didn't not nationally you didn't, and you're not going to because that doesn't fit into the narrative. You just need to pay attention, and that's why we show the flag of what's going on at the White House, because it's little things. And as Americans, like, oh, that's just accept this, accept that. I had a chance to see some of the comments from our listeners or viewers on the podcast, and I was glad to see that they were fired up about it because it's those little things that just kind of stick you and poke you where this country is losing its patriotism. And if you lose your patriotism, you know what? You lose a lot. You don't become a great country and you don't stay that way unless you continue to fight for it. You've got to bring these things to light, which is what we try to do here on canceltheshow.com, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. live. And of course, all the time on our website with all the original content that you can find. It's just, people can say, well, this is something that, hey, we got bigger fish to fry. Well, it's all part.
Well, we have bigger fish to fry, but when you have a group of people, I don't care who that group of people is, and they're becoming more like a militia and they're becoming weaponized. They're coming out and harming people and their protests are violent. We have a big problem.
And we'll continue to follow it. I mean, it seems like it's as if day after day you have these things happening. And of course, when you have the former president and all the news that's surrounding that, we broke down in our previous 15, 20 minutes, other things that were happening around this country. One other thing that I think you need to watch and what's going to be interesting is we were talking a lot of the politics in this first hour. And Projo, if you can get Alex Soros's picture up at some point. He did his first interview now. This is George Soros's son. He's a 37-year-old who says that he and his dad think a lot alike.
Well, yes, they do, don't they?
And does he kind of remind you of our marketing director, Alex?
No. Alex is very sweet. This guy is pure evil.
He said, however, in this new interview that he has done, and their, quote, philanthropic group is massively, massively, massively loaded, billions and billions and billions of dollars. He said that he is taking over the reins with a new energy and going after two massive issues. They want to promote abortion like it's never been promoted and allowing basically anybody to vote, whether they're citizens or not, voting We want we're going to see what we can get done when it comes to the vote.
Yeah, and you just saw the Antichrist, because that's pretty much what this guy
my God.
is literally going to be. You know what? Everything that is a little bit wrong with this country is going to be amplified 20 times with this guy in charge of the Soros funds. But think about this. Where does Soros get his money? Who is people donate money to him. Who are the benefactors donating to George Soros and his son and their family to make sure all of these policies go in a certain direction? Now, do you think that George Soros...
Well, it's a $25 billion empire.
It is. And he funds Democrats, but don't you think that there's a big money laundering situation go on? Democrats also fund him. So let's say Democrats fund him. He turns around and funds other Democrats. We have to start paying much more attention to what's going on with these folks.
And the other reason that you need to know about Alex being there and talking about it, he also said, and as we know, when Tabitha asked the former St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner if she received money and was being backed by George Soros, she said, yeah, I take George Soros money. And then we found out with several other mayors and circuit attorneys around the country that were having issues, they were taking Soros money. And it was all under this new idea of less people in prison, reimagining policing.
It's about socialism.
Less police is better, which we know is not. And I can't wait to talk with our good friend Ty Dennis of Clippers and Cops in about 5 minutes. He said they're going to continue to push that money out. Just last year, $1.5 billion to their political causes in the United States, to political figures, circuit attorneys, commercials, and of course, what they want. So it's a big, and they're allowed to put the money out. We're just letting you know where the money's coming from and what they want to do with the money.
They shouldn't be allowed to put the money out. They should not be allowed to destroy our country. And Vic, they might say, "Oh,
it's a free country," though. I don't agree with the message.
I get it's a free country, but it's a big lie, in my opinion, when they say, "Oh, these prosecutors, we're just trying to do better things. We're trying to keep more people out of jail." They're trying to destroy our country. This is all about socialism, leading us into socialism. You know, Soros even though he is a Jew, he sold out his fellow Jews. Look what this guy did. He doesn't care about anything but power and money.
The 37-year-old also said that they're restructuring and putting more people in place with more energy like himself as well.
So that means they're going to have more piles of bricks around protests, more 2x4s, so you can beat more people at protests, because that's what he funds. You know that, right?
100%.
When you go and you see a protest, and they say, "Oh, this protest is peaceful," and then a truck comes up and they deliver a pallet of bricks. Somebody comes in with a big load of frozen water bottles to throw at police officers. Guess who's funding all of that?
Well, when Soros took his money, he had the Soros Fund Management. They cut money to Tesla. And apparently there was some deal with him and Elon Musk. So clearly Musk was pissed when the money was taken out. So I give you the backdrop of why he may have said what he said. But it is interesting how deep Elon went with his quote, saying, quote, George Soros hates humanity and, quote, wants to erode the very fabric of civilization. That is pretty steep. Also, quote, he's the go-to man when they want to blame someone, is what he went after. And that's who they should go after, is George Soros.
Absolutely should go after him. And now his son, Alex, as we know, he's not even allowed in Russia. They've had a target on his head for a very, very long time.
George Soros, he's 92. And, so we'll see where he goes from his life standpoint.
Vic, don't you think that what we know of, let's say Kim Gardner, other prosecutors across this country, that's the tip of the iceberg? Think about where the Soros money is going.
I don't care.
That we don't even know about.
We got to have quality people in office. Biden is not one of them.
He's just definitely not.
And he shows us on a daily basis. And the Democrats who join the show talk about it. The Republicans who join the show talk about it. It's not going in the right direction. And who else is there? There's not. So these funds come into play, these political action committees.
How do we win against it? I don't see a way to win, quite honestly.
The only way is
I don't.
You got to go dollar for dollar, and you got to get the message out somehow, some way through platforms like ours. We're trying to get all sides of the story out, which is what canceltheshow.com is about. We're going to take a quick break. Please check out our advertisers, our partners who help make this show go. We appreciate your help. If you know people that would want to partner with us, it's expensive to do what we do. We could use some help from that standpoint. We want to get bigger, stronger. We want to be on longer. We want to bring you the stories in the news, but we need your help to do that. If you know of partners, whether national or local, that want to partner with us, please let us know. You can reach out to us via email. You can go to our website. We are grateful for the support we have. Donations help us continue to be the free speech. Tabitha is super expensive because she's so good.
I'm super good. I don't need, and speaking of, I don't have a sponsor yet for my tab steak. So.
100%.
If
there we go.
anyone wants to sponsor the tab steak, it's open for grabs.
And when we come back, we're going to talk, get a quick update with our friend, Ty Dennis, Clippers and Cops. I'd like to put him on some spot with some political questions, but I don't want.
I don't
want the big guy coming over and getting me.
Squash you.
So
he's a big guy.
We'll talk with Ty Dennis about what he's got going on in the community. He continues to make headway all across the country, bringing the inner city together with police to try to bridge that gap, to talk about why that relationship is so important. I'm glad somebody's doing it. We'll get Ty in to talk about that. Tab's take on the 8-foot/10-foot aliens that crash landed in Arizona. You can't make this stuff up either. It's
not even news of the weird. Remember they used to be
it
news
just
of the
seems
weird?
like there's so much evidence backing this.
There is. It's crazy.
Woo. We'll get in it. Plus, we'll have the story of the former Mumford Sons guitarist who quit the band because he said that a journalist had every right to write a book against Antifa, and then the mob came after him. We'll get into it all. It's canceltheshow.com. Back in just a couple minutes.
House has the largest selection of solid wood with the hottest new styles. Real furniture that's built to last, like our solid bedrooms, living rooms, and dining from Kincaid. Our volume enables us to save you a lot of money, especially during our solid wood sale. Plus, get free financing, fast free delivery, and free in-home design. So for solid wood, sweet styles, and solid service since 1964, shop over 3 football fields of furniture at Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
Jonathan, what does make Rockwood so special?
Rockwood, we carbonize it higher than anybody else does. So we're cooking out everything that produces ash, smoke, anything like that. It gives you a lot more control over the temperature, a lot more control over the fire, and it's 100% Missouri product.
All right, where can people get it?
It's at 100-plus locations around St. Louis, any Deerberg, Straub's, meat markets, wine and cheese stores, hardware stores, you name it, we're around St. Louis. Just check the website.
And good charcoal should be able to break apart in your hands like
absolutely,
does,
yeah.
Right?
If you can't break it apart by hand, it's not charcoal yet. It's still wood. They didn't do the job, so make sure it can break apart by hand.
All right, get your Rockwood charcoal.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the cars.
Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
Hey guys, welcome back into cancelthisshow.com. We appreciate everybody jumping in with us for this June 12th edition. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson en route at some point, I believe. And then we've got Projo here, Lizzie Sparks, doing what she does better than anybody, taking care of the live chat, all your comments, live from beautiful Lake of the Ozarks this morning after joining a weekend there. Cancelthisshow.com, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. live, of course, and all the time on our website at cancelthisshow.com. Great first fast hour. Time to check in now with our good friend Ty Dennis from Clippers and Cops, wearing the damn impressive gear. How's it going, my friend? Good. How are you guys? It's good to have you here. We'll get you loaded up here. All right, Ty Dennis in the house. Hey, when was your last event? What's the latest with Clippers and Cops?
We just got back from Milwaukee. Actually met a female by Arletta Slaughter in Milwaukee. At a conference in Savannah, Georgia.
Well, I'm going to ask you that question again. We're popping your mic back up here. We wanted to make sure that we had everything taken care of. I want to remind everybody, Clippers and Cops is an amazing organization that Ty Dennis runs. He worked in Atlanta in the gang unit for a long time, retired, came back to the St. Louis area from St. Louis. Now he's bringing police in the inner community of the cities together, doing what he can to keep everything done. We're promised we're getting your mic taken care of here.
He is doing some good works. And you know what I love most about Ty is that he tells the truth, his truth, to anything you can ask. And he's not afraid of any questions.
Projo, you just give me the thumbs up when you think we're ready. Yeah, there's our voice. There's our voice. Hey, let's talk about the latest. What's going on with Clippers and Cops, my friend?
We just got back from Milwaukee a week and a half ago. I met a female by the name of Arletta Slaughter at a conference in Savannah, Georgia, and she didn't get a chance to hear me speak at the conference. Some other ladies did, and they were telling her about Clippers and Cops. She and I actually got on the same flight, so I had an hour to basically sell her on the program, show her videos, and she basically was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find funding to get you guys there. And a year later, she did. They rolled out the red carpet for us. They treated us like rock stars. From the time we got off the flight, we went to eat dinner. We had our own Clippers and Cops menu at the steak restaurant. When we walked into the school to do our campus invasion, the kids had on Clippers and Cops T-shirts. At the event, G's Clippers, the barbershop is an old bank. So it's huge. They welcomed us like no other. Their police chief loved it. The community loved it and can't wait to go back. We have Clippers and Cops here in St. Louis on Wednesday, June 4th. At the Barber Life 314 is at Kings Highway in Farland from 6 to 8.
Wait a minute, John, what? June?
This Wednesday, the 14th.
Oh, the 14th. Okay.
Correct. Here in St. Louis. Then I have to be in Atlanta that Thursday to do Clippers and Cops in Atlanta this coming Thursday at Studio 6. So
remind people what you're doing, this whole mission, what's going on. It's been a little bit since we had you in studio, and we have an audience all over the country that could help you out as well, as long as they know what Ty Dennis and Clippers and Cops is all about.
Clippers and Cops, I basically created the program to try to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community. The goal of the program is to have all voices heard, the community to hear where law enforcement stand, but law enforcement to also listen and hear where the community is coming from. As police, if we're supposed to be for the community, why aren't we interacting with the community? We've been doing it since March of 2018. I've started in barbershops. I've been everywhere, classrooms, prisons, schools. We started in Atlanta. We've reached different cities, different states, different countries, different continents. And it blows my mind every time. When we were in Milwaukee, I had a humbling moment, like, to think this is something that I created from scratch and to see the grasp and what we're able to do. My motto is be the change that you want to see. A lot of people talk about what's wrong with the world. They talk about crime. They talk about all these different things. And it's like, what are you doing? We all can play a little part in trying to do something different instead of just talking about it.
You are literally saving lives. I can't even count how many lives you have probably saved, because you know what? I don't think people truly understand what's at play here. Do you know most people and I would say probably a lot of people listen to the show, have never been in the worst areas of St. Louis.
Right.
They don't drive up and down, let's say Jefferson or Hodemont or some of these other places.
Or in whatever city in Chicago or Atlanta.
Any city, wherever exactly. Wherever you live in this country, in those crime-ridden areas, people don't understand how these kids actually live and what they have to see every day, the vacant buildings and having to not be able to have let your kids play outside. And you guys are there, you're police officers, you're protecting them as much as you're protecting us. And these kids, I think they feel so helpless. And I'm so glad they have someone like you and your organization to reach out and bridge that gap.
Thank you. Well, I like going to the hood, or I can go anywhere. I feel comfortable in any setting in any part of the country. Like it's a Young Jeezy, the rapper, said, "Real recognize real." When you're real, people can absorb it. They know when you're phony. They know when you're not being honest and true. And when we go into some of these neighborhoods, I like to bring the light to some of these neighborhoods because some people are victimized twice. Just because I live in this neighborhood doesn't mean I'm a criminal. I live here because of my circumstances, or this is where I grew up, or this is where I'm from. When you're a kid and you grow up in that environment, you don't necessarily know any different. This is home. This is all you know. Until you start to get away and see different, you start wanting different. Or for myself, I want to pour back into my community. I grew up in the Fountain Park neighborhood. I love where I'm come from. I tell anybody where I come from. I'm proud of where I'm come from because I wouldn't be who I am today without it. Everything that makes me great, everything that made me different makes me great. Being a dissect student, coming from the Fountain Park neighborhood, I'm a ball of all of that makes me who I am today, so I wouldn't change it.
That's one of the roughest parts of St. Louis right now.
That is definitely one of the roughest parts, and that's why, for me, my motto now is one block at a time, I want to literally bring the Clippers and Cops headquarters to Fountain Park neighborhood and basically start the rebuild. And by investing in it myself would show and get the ball rolling on trying to be that change, living by what I'm preaching.
How can people help you, Ty, in the next few minutes? We're trying to make sure that we get people, if they want to jump in and try to help your mission and what you're trying to do.
ClippersandCops.org, or on all social media platforms. You can go to YouTube, see any videos about what we're about, anything that we've done. We're looking for corporate sponsorship overall. The goal of the program is I want to do a tour with the program and literally go not only St. Louis and Atlanta or home base, but to other cities. These aren't the problems we're dealing with here in St. Louis is not just a St. Louis problem. These are nationwide issues. And when we go to different cities, you get to feel the vibe in these other cities that they're dealing with the same stuff that we're dealing with. And overall, all we're trying to do is show people that we don't have to continue to keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Let's do something different by making ourselves just available to listen, empathizing with people, empathizing with communities that never sat down and had talks with cops. We're able to provide perspective, and we give a voice to the police because some of the police want to say things and they can't because they're restricted by the departments in which they work.
You go to the heart of the matter. For those people who have gotten past Clippers and Cops because you just started the program and you've come here, you've told us before, there's no deterrent like seeing police officers. There's no deterrent like punishing when you commit crimes so that people see that. You had to, not because things got so bad, but you had to think that St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner stepping down was a good thing for the city.
For me, I don't know her well enough.
And I only say that because of the results. And I knew Kim personally and said on this show that I liked her as a person, but it was not working as a circuit attorney, in my opinion.
My opinion is I didn't know her well enough to necessarily speak on it. But at the same time, I think that we need to revisit government in itself. It's not a one-person job.
No.
I think that it's a system that needs to be revisited because although she's the head of the snake, I think that there's other parameters that need to be in the place where one person doesn't just have all of that power or all that decision making. I think that, and we can't arrest our way out of some of these problems. Although those that need to go to jail or prison, great, but we have to have some type of deterrent that, okay, if I made a mistake, can I get some type of something to try to the goal of punishment is to rehabilitate and to reinfuse them back into society. Prison of today is not rehabilitating.
No, it is not.
It's basically you're making them worse.
If you're not a criminal already, you will be by the time you come out.
Correct, because you have to learn how to survive in that environment. And then when they put you back into regular society, that's not prison.
Well, and it's supposedly, I've heard anyway, a lot like PTSD. Some of these people who have committed very minor offenses, I'm not talking about violent criminals, I'm talking about other offenses that send somebody to jail. You end up, things are so different in prison.
But I'm talking about violent.
Oh, yeah. Violence is a whole different story.
Take St. Louis and the gun crime and everything else. There has to be deterrence, right?
Correct. And
this is an indirect situation of what you're working with.
But they have to start at such a young age.
My recommendation is, like you said, officer presence deters crime. The only way we're going to get more officers, like I always tell you guys, is pay them better. At this point, since 20, we've had a lot of officers, including myself, that have chose to do something else. If you pay them more officers will be less likely.
Where does that money come from?
I don't know. I'm not a politician.
It comes from the freaking budget in St. Louis City or any other city.
At the end of the day, we find money to build stadiums. We find money to build whatever we want. We can find money.
That's private money.
Well, let's get some private money.
I'm with you.
My whole thing is none of that stuff matters if you don't feel safe. Don't go into it. So until you pay the officers to make you safe or to make people stay away from that, guess what? The crime is going to continue. People are not going to want to go to the baseball game. People are not going to, you can build whatever you want. People are not going to want to go because my car is going to cost me tickets to get in plus my window to get fixed.
Well, I'm going to be curious to see if Gabe Gore, and I know it's not just one person,
right?
The new circuit attorney. I got a feeling, Ty, he's going to be a whole lot better than what we just saw.
I'm all for it. All I'm for is safety and change. And whoever, I don't care who's correct.
And what you're doing.
That's why
you hit the situation before anybody else does.
And it's an opportunity for them to come out and state their case, to tell the people, forget all the political stuff. Come tell the people that live, you could say crime, like in every city, they say crime is down. The numbers say this. Tell the people that live in these environments that crime is down, or ask where they come from. Or even you guys coming to the city, how do you feel? How do you feel about some of these things? And until we hold people accountable, when you come to Clippers and Cops, you can't hide behind your role. You are a regular person there.
Mm-hmm.
We have had senators, House reps, convicts, and cops and regular people all in the same room.
No, I've been to a few of them. I know.
Exactly. It's not candy coated. It's not.
It's real.
Correct.
Real recognizes real.
There you go.
And more people need to do that. More people need to step out of, I call it their comfort zone.
Correct.
Because I'll tell you what, most of the people I know, again, would never be in different parts of St. Louis. And particularly sometimes where you hold these events.
Right.
People need to step out of their comfort zone. It's so easy for us to look the other way and to just wipe it out of our mind that there are people who live out there a different lifestyle than we do.
Well, when you watch the news, some people, that's the only vision that they have of certain areas.
That's right.
When you see different, your thoughts become different, because then you start to hear the different stories that didn't make the news. You start to meet people and you're like, you're from what? When I tell people you're from Fountain Park, like, what did you think? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get out of like you said, out of your comfort zone to empathize with something you may know nothing about. And the moment that you do that, that's how we create change.
Hey, by the way, I wanted you to let people know how they can, if you know, and I don't put you on the spot a little bit, how they can find your podcast. You're running the pod. Did I put you on the spot on that? Because I know that you do it. What's that?
We're not there yet.
Oh, okay. You're getting it all together.
We're getting it together. My buddy, Michael Sighton, White Mike, he does Clippers and Cops with me. We're working on a podcast.
And I just wanted to promote it because I saw a little bit of your stuff when you guys were in our studio recording, because, if people didn't know, they can rent our studio for their own podcast. And you guys have a freaking badass podcast that's coming.
Well, Mike is a news reporter in Atlanta. And he and I are great.
White Mike is the best name for a news guy.
Because, well, that's not his news name.
I know, but
with Clippers and Cops, we have two Mikes. Yeah. I don't do Clippers and Cops by myself. Dante Booker, 20-year veteran. Oric Curry, retired Sergeant Major, retired detective, Atlanta Police. Tyrone Finney, 15 years. Andre Lowe, 15 years. Kim Underwood, she was my partner in gangs, just retired, 32 years. And then there's Michael Carter, or light-skinned Mike, who's the SWAT commander. And then there's Michael Seiden, who's our media person, who's white Mike.
He's white.
Correct. There you go. And so not to confuse the two, we made up nicknames. And then I almost forgot the voice of Clippers and Cops, Maurice Sweeney. He's a radio personality. He's able to keep the mood light. And when all of us get together, and shout out to my buddy Ruben Houston. Ruben and I have the craziest relationship. I actually arrested Ruben in 2015. He had the #1 single in the country. And from that, I kind of derailed it. I was on a federal search warrant. But since then...
Damn, you suck, Ty.
I
ruined a career.
Really feel bad. But the relationship that he and I have established is unprecedented. And he actually comes with us to talk to the kids with Clippers and Cops. That goes back to the point of rehabilitation. He has chosen to change his life. All I did is, when the day of the search warrant, we was out there from 3 a.m. to noon. I was hungry. I'm a big guy. I stopped to get food. And I'm a human. I'm not going to eat in front of somebody. I don't care if you're in custody or not. And I said, do you want something? And he was like, bro, I ain't no snitch. Like, you can't buy me.
Was he in cuffs?
Yeah, he was in custody. And when I said that, he was like, I ain't no snitch. I'm like, I don't need you to snitch. I'm not going to eat in front of you. And then I said, if you want something, get something. If not, I'm moving on. He got something to eat. And I never saw him for 4 years. I'm working a fair, and he started walking towards me. And I stepped back like, what's up? And he basically was like, I want to shake your hand. You're the first officer to treat me like a human being. And he was like, if you ever need me for anything, give me a call. And when we started doing Clippers and Cops Campus Invasion, we went to Georgia Tech. I felt that he played cornerback at Georgia Tech. He used to guard Calvin Johnson. He was a first round grade.
Best receiver I ever saw playing the NFL.
There you go.
Sorry.
And he guarded him
I'm biased.
every day.
Detroit Lions.
So with that, he comes and I could tell my story as a police officer. He tells his story from his own life, his own path. And the kids absolutely love him because, once again, real recognize real.
Hey, real quick, somebody wanted us to ask you before we let you go, Ty, of Clippers and Cops. Did you ever get a chance to meet Ann Dorn in St. Louis? Her husband was murdered at the store in the riots.
Captain David Dorn.
Dorn. Okay, somebody was just curious if you'd ever met her. Just thought that might be a good connection.
I would love to
at some point in time.
We will have to introduce you.
An amazing woman who was brought into the spotlight because of a tragedy when her husband was murdered during the St. Louis riots. Was it 4 years ago now? Was it 2019 or?
At the I know what you're talking about. The pawn shop, correct. Yeah. So here, I was in Atlanta during that time. I saw all of that different stuff play out through social media, even though it's just like now. I'm still in it. Even though I'm in St. Louis, I've been here 3 years. I'm still in Atlanta, like, basically. Yeah. And it's the same thing when I was in Atlanta. I was still here. Some people don't even know which city I'm in. They're like, where are you?
I don't know what city you're in. You're all over the place. You know, you just made a statement, and you said that this gentleman came back to you and he said, you're the first police officer who treated me like a human.
Correct.
Do you think that's lends to a lot of the crime that takes place? Do you know so many police officers? I know so many police officers. Do you feel that too many officers are just too redundant in their daily work and they're not taking that extra step?
Well, I think that all officers are different, just like in any profession, everyone is different. I think that a lot of officers, majority of the officers, do what they're supposed to do, and it goes unnoticed because they do it every day. But then you have one bad apple that spoils the bunch. Like, a lot of people think that, like, the public wants to see us actually hold an officer accountable for brutality or whatever. They literally want you to walk in with a head of an officer like, I got one, I got a bad one. Not knowing that a lot of this stuff goes on behind closed doors. As a police officer, if we're in a unit together, we have conversation every day. People ask me, what do you miss about being a cop? I miss my unit. I miss being in the office, interacting like we are a family. Like, you're with these people more than you're with your own family. I miss having conversation. And if during the course of battle, things happen where you like, hey man, don't do that. Like, you're tripping, or you correct the problem right then and there. And I think that the public don't see that. Now, do I think there are some officers that need to choose a different profession? Of course.
Yeah.
Because
with anything.
But the difference between a cop is you can ruin someone's life, not of course with a gun, but with your pen, because you think, I'm just going to write them. Well, you could really hurt somebody who's already in financial disarray by doing that. So I was always taught from my first day, Lieutenant Terry Steele, shouts out, he retired Atlanta. He sat me down and he said, these are your people. I don't care what color they are, what creed they are. He said, you treat people how you would want your own family to be treated. And if you can live by that code, you'll be all right. And I've lived by that. And that's why I hold my head high in any community, any city I go, because I know I did it right.
Ty, before we let you go then, once again, the event is Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, 6
How can people come out and check this out again? Just show up?
Just show up. It's open to the public. We welcome anybody that, even if you want to come talk, even if you want to just come listen, we welcome anybody. At the end of the day, I tell people even you've been, both of you, I think both of y'all been, when you come, listen. You don't have to come talk if you don't want to. Just come listen. Come feel the energy of change happening right before your eyes. It blows people's mind that we are actually doing. They look at us like we're aliens, like, y'all going where? And it's like, why not? We are the change that we want to see. We're not saying Clippers and Cops is an end all. All we're saying is this is what we're doing to try to make change. And I love doing it. I love helping people. I love seeing people saying thank you. Like, I get humbled. When Milwaukee, I was sitting there, somebody said, you're not talking that much. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep from crying. Like just to see something that you thought about on your couch go as far as it has is humbling. But God make everything happen for a reason. I don't know everybody religiously believe, but I believe in God.
Clippersandcops.com. Clippersandcops.com. Do you ever get people that's do you have people go, oh man, you're conservative, you're a Republican?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, don't okay.
Well, like I told y'all, we've talked. Y'all ask all type of stuff when I come up here, and like I tell y'all do. It doesn't bother me because I'm comfortable.
Are you getting into this politics thing? Are you getting into this presidential
I don't feel
thing?
that with politics, two groups represent our country.
They don't.
You're a Republican. You're a
I just
Democrat.
can't ever see you voting for Joe Biden because you got to expect more out of somebody.
At the end of the day, I don't see myself. Most of the people that are lined up in front of us, they don't necessarily relate to me fully anyway. Yeah. I don't think no candidate has come across and you're like, that's me right there. Like, no. And so with that,
I love the way you said that.
Because people try to put you in a box and say, well, if you're black, you're a Democrat. If you're white, you're a Republican, different stuff like that. And that's not fair. Like,
it's not fair. And you're right. In this country, we have many different factions, not two parties.
There you go.
But we're forced into boxes.
There you go.
Unfortunately.
And you get it.
Be the change that you want to see, Vic.
Amen, my man. Hey, appreciate it, Ty.
Thanks.
Love you, buddy. Ty Dennis, Clippers and Cops Wednesday night. What's the address?
Ooh.
Do you have that, or can they go to clippersandcops.org?
They could, but I could read it off real fast.
Check out Ty's site, clippersandcops.org, clippersandcops.org.
The Barber Life, 314-4026 Kings Highway Boulevard.
Could you repeat it one more time?
The Barber Life, 314-4026 Kings Highway Boulevard. It's a block up from Natural Bridge. If you made it to Matthew Dickey, you went too far.
All right.
Love it.
Oh, you were there.
Nope, this is a different
new one. Okay.
All
right.
Well, I hope you
got me visiting around all parts of St. Louis City that I haven't been to.
Hey, guess
and that's
what?
good for you.
I love it. When I saw you walked in, I couldn't talk to you because I was in the back, but I loved it. And even Brad, Chris, and Nick Schwarr has come through.
Yeah, Nick was.
Brad, I told him, you don't have to talk. And he got put on the spot. And I respect him big time.
Let me see what I can do about trying to get out there again Wednesday. If it helps you out, just by presence being there. Your
face mean so much because I know you got 1,000,001 things that you could be doing. He a good looking dude too. So he bring people out. But I'm saying by you being there, it says a lot. And I appreciate the support. And I know that you can. How often do you come to that neighborhood?
Yeah.
Right.
This is not being in news anymore. I used to be in news, but not that much anymore.
And
but I was shocked how people recognized when I was just by showing up, like, oh, why are you here?
Because we
Ty's my guy.
Every morning.
Ty's my guy.
I appreciate it, man.
Ty Dennis, clippersandcops.org. We appreciate it. Have a great day, my friend.
You too.
We appreciate it. Ty Dennis making things happen with Clippers and Cops. And you know what? Be the change you want to see. Ty puts it.
There you go, y'all. Wait for my live.
He's live. Ty, no, it's the real deal. You got to have real conversations. And it's not just a conversation.
And you can have
You got to take action. Conversations first, but nothing gets done unless you take action.
Well,
and he's taking action.
And he's Ty is the most real person I've ever met.
Thank you. That's
Hey, are you racist? Do you have to be anywhere? I mean, you're more than welcome to hang out with us, but I thought you had
But you'll have to talk about some politics.
But we're getting into
and aliens.
No, politics are done. We're done with politics.
I saw the alien
Politics and
story.
aliens.
I saw the alien story.
Well, if you want to hang out, you're more than willing to hang out. If you want to
talk about some aliens,
he's got to get out of here.
I know he does.
He's always got to get out.
Lives to save out there.
Ty, whenever you want, you can get up and walk out. We just continue live, my friend.
Appreciate it.
All right, it is cancelthisshow.com. We love the real talk with Ty Dennison. We'll let you know more about his podcast that's coming up because it's good. It's fresh. It's real. It's raw. It's different with Ty Dennison, White Mike, because I watched some of their recording that was going on here. I was hoping it was already out, just not quite out yet. One of our favorite things that we do every day on the show is our Tabs Take. So for this June 12th, let's get ready for our Tabs Take.
Tabs Take.
Job responsibilities that we have to kind of treat.
What, you're still talking? I didn't even know that. Oh, we're back on live, buddy. If you want to hang with us, get on the mic. If not, love you, Ty. Appreciate it, buddy.
Bye.
See, but Ty, you wind Ty up, but he's just going to talk and he's going to make things happen.
I could talk to Ty all day. I want to know what he thinks about aliens, but I guess that'll be the next.
He thought we were taking a break. I'm
next
sorry.
time he comes in.
No, that was a stinger.
Okay.
Tabs Take time. I can't wait for it. Ty said he knew what your Tabs Take was all about.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, I don't know how many people saw this story that took place. This happened on April 30th. So it's not that recent.
Did you want to show the news story
Absolutely.
first?
So when Joe's ready, he can pop that up. So on April 30th.
Yeah, you can
April
set
30th.
the stage. They actually did a news story. I mean,
this is like
a legitimate local news story on what Tabitha's going to set up.
It is becoming mainstream news, these UFO type stories, because guess what? It's something we're now dealing with every day, whether it is our government doing investigations over UAPs, whether it is the hearings that's taking place in Congress, whether it's things people are seeing. And what happened on April 30th was that there was a green light or blob of some sort that came out through the sky in Las Vegas. There was two police officers. They were out on a call, and through the body cam footage, you could see the green orb like kind of falling to the ground. And as it's falling to the ground, they're looking at it like, what?
Spiritual TikTok, Joe.
And then within just a few moments, a man called the 911, and you're going to hear part of his call into 911. And then we can go on and talk about the things that they're not showing on the video, part of the call. Two people ended up calling 911 to say they saw these
Let's check
beings.
this out.
It is the police call everybody will be talking about. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Denise Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now. And tonight, our David Sharns with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Right, Denise, sources telling 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
Well, the 8 News Now investigators obtaining video as officers then responded to the call you just heard. You'll see the officers also saw something in the sky that night, but the big question is, what was it, and is it all connected?
Leave her alone.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Someone calls 911 reporting 2 large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm so nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard? Or
they see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property. What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey. If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So yeah, this is quite weird, Brian was saying as we're watching this story. Now, we've been in contact with the family in that video, and as you heard in that 911 call, they seem very reasonable and honestly quite scared as you heard them in the call. No, they don't seem impaired in any way, and whatever crashed by the time that police got there was gone, but sources say that there's really no dispute. Something was in their yard. Exactly what? We do not know.
I mean, it's so interesting. So, like, the Metro officers see.
We'll probably never know.
Why don't we have video?
Well, here's the thing. Put yourself, first of all, before we get too far into this, was it aliens? Is it a distraction? Honestly, I don't know. You have to make up your own mind. I haven't even made up my own mind yet. But what I will tell you is that think about this. You're hanging out with your family. These are 2 teens. It was a teen that actually made the phone call. You're hanging out with your family on whatever night, April 30th. And all of a sudden, there's like a boom. They said the boom was so loud. It was like a sonic boom in the backyard. And they go outside and take a look. And you see this craft of some sort in your backyard, which left a big dent, by the way, in their backyard. And you go out and you see this. And you see an 8 to 10 foot being that's not human standing there. And you see another one in the whatever craft it is. And there's so much more to this that is not even explained on that video from subsequent interviews and subsequent investigation. And what was stated by the people who saw, the entire family ended up seeing these beings, as did another man 40 miles away from this site. And what they all seem to say is whatever this is, it's not human. And while this kid was making a phone call and went back into the house is when whatever type of craft it was disappeared. And I can only imagine these 2 aliens crash landing in this guy's backyard. And they're like, you know what? We need to get out of here before these humans do something to us. Because he said it looked like they were communicating. Well, maybe they fixed it. We don't know. What would you do if you crash landed in somebody's backyard? You'd try to get up and get out of there.
You think this is a bunch of BS, right?
No, I don't. I don't know what to think. I am 50-50.
And don't get angry at me when I say this.
I'm not getting angry.
Not yet, because I haven't opened my mouth yet.
Okay, well, you can.
And I'm getting ready.
And I'm not going to get angry either way because I don't know. I don't know. I have no response.
You don't believe anything with politics or the government?
Oh, I saw Aaron's comments.
I saw Aaron's comment. That's exactly
No, that doesn't upset me at all because you know what? I know what's going on with the government. I know. I have the proof. I can see it. I know. I can put my finger on it. When it comes to aliens, I have never seen an alien. I've never seen a spaceship. I've never seen anything unusual in the sky whatsoever. And so I can only look at accounts like this and think, is it true or is it not? We know. I absolutely believe aliens exist. Yes. Is that what these guys saw? I don't know. I mean, we see this blue orb falling. We see the police officer saying, well, it was giving me butterflies because I just saw this.
We saw the video come down. That we did. We saw the orb come down. We heard a big crash.
And they said and you know, the people that they interviewed.
But there's no video. And they said, well, they wouldn't give us video.
Would you, let's just lay this on the line. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm in my house with my family and I hear, or by myself and I hear this giant boom, And I just happened to glance outside. There's some 8 or 10 foot aliens standing out there. Gosh, no, I'm going to go hide in my closet.
No, you're not.
And did you hear?
You're not afraid of anything.
That's not true. I'm scared of aliens, or not really, but I might be if I saw them face to face. But I'll tell you what's not in this interview was the interview they did with the kids who saw this initially. And the father, they did an interview with these folks. And you know what they said? They said, well, because they asked them, they're like, well, why didn't you do something? Why did it take you so long to call police? Several minutes. And they said, well, the beings looked at us. And when they looked at us, we were paralyzed and couldn't move. And they said, then all of a sudden, it was like they came to some sort of, peace between each other. and then all of a sudden they could move and they went in and called 911.
I've seen that in TV shows where aliens can make you stop.
It was, yeah.
And
it
if
was
Hollywood
exactly
says
like that.
it, we know Hollywood is just a precursor to everything else that's going to happen. So maybe that's what's happening.
And I don't know if I would have my phone
eyes,
with me.
Like you're not supposed to look at Medusa. Do not lock eyes with an alien or you'll stop.
But this is not the only sighting. 40 minutes after, I said 40 miles earlier, 40 minutes after this sighting, someone else called 911. Strangely enough, right by Area 51. And they said, guess what? We see these things in the back at our house.
They need more.
And they're not human.
Yeah, I see where this is going. They need a new Area 51. They need they need commerce in the area.
It could be all a big
recession could be on the way.
Maybe these people
wait a second. The AP
are
is
in on it.
The AP is reporting the 2 aliens had a scheduled dinner with Bigfoot. Okay.
Or Biden.
I got
Nothing surprises me these days. Nothing surprises me. When it comes to aliens, Vic, I don't know. We have to believe there's something else out there.
Paul, I wish I had something to give you. Paul said my wife has that ability to paralyze me with a look. I'm sorry. I digress. That is pretty funny stuff. No, I'm glad you did this as a tab stake because I saw this come down.
I'm looking for answers. I am like everyone else. I'm looking for answers. Aren't we all?
I didn't know where we were going to put this. If this would fall under our free-for-all conspiracy theory
normally
Friday.
Normally, yes.
But it became it seemed such a big news story. I'm glad you were doing it.
UFOs and aliens are no longer news of the weird. They are no longer that far off topic.
No, they're not.
It's all conspiracy. When we have our own Pentagon saying, maybe there's a mothership up there and what we see are probes. When we have Senator Kennedy saying, folks, lock your doors. And when we have all these whistleblowers, it was not sarcastic. And when we have all of these whistleblowers coming out and saying, we have spacecraft, we have beings.
That's the exact stuff that makes me not want to believe.
And that's
our
true.
Own government's telling us that.
I know you can't believe.
Yeah, but Americans are Americans. We could have an alien ship crash land tonight, and 100 aliens walk down the street, and it would be cool to us for like a day, and then it would be like, okay, what's the next thing? That's how we are as humans.
It is. One could land in this room right now, and quite honestly, I would probably think Biden did it to us. I would have no idea what was going on.
We would interview. We would do our best.
And we would do our best to interview them. And in this setting with other people, I would hope maybe they'd kill you guys first. So I would try to take a video. But not by myself, I wouldn't.
That's not even fair.
And did you hear what the kid said it sounded like? When he gave a separate interview, not part of the news, he said it sounded like 1,000 footsteps all at once.
Yeah, I did hear that.
It was pretty wild.
So where did they disappear to?
They did a month-long investigation, and it came up inconclusive.
And no tracks?
Inconclusive.
No, alien feet tracks?
No, apparently.
They get a tracker down in Arizona.
There was a big indention. Have you seen the indention in the backyard of these folks?
No.
Holy cow. It's like a great big round, almost perfectly circular indention in their yard. It's obvious something was there. And the neighbors saw it too. They didn't see the aliens,
machinery
but they saw the green blob land in the backyard of these people.
Okay.
Leave it up to your imagination, folks. I can't make the decision for you.
Well, the thing about it is we haven't had any new come out of it since the April 30th night.
And how often do you think this might happen that we never even hear about? How often does the government, quiet it down and not allow?
Well, it depends on where they crash land.
When does the government come out and give you the little puff of something that makes you not remember?
maybe their planes are as bad as ours are in this country when it comes to the commercial flights.
That's what I was thinking. Because in my mind, I'm thinking
there's a recession in outer space.
I know. I'm thinking, what are these two aliens thinking? Maybe one's like a permit driver and he didn't know how to fly the spaceship.
Oh my God. So
they crash landed and he's probably yelling at the fellow alien, like, what are you doing, buddy? We're in these people's backyard. Now they're going to see us and take a video of us.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, it is what it is. That's your tabs take for today. And I don't know what to think when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is real. Then the more I look at it, I'm like, no. I want some more video.
But we're not. Are we ever going to believe it? Let's just put it this way. What would it take? I know what it would take for me. What would it take for you to believe beyond a doubt that would it have to land in your own backyard?
No.
Would you have to see the alien walking through your house?
If this had some video of him in the backyard, hey, what's up? Check it.
But when you just try to explain it, because I know I would be like, oh, that's some guy in a costume.
Dang.
What would it take for us to really believe it? I don't know that any of us could ever wrap our heads around it.
I could definitely do it.
I don't know if I could. I'd have to see
the alleged video in the background that was caught just by the police cruiser, not on purpose, was the start for me. Okay. Oh,
something was there.
Something was crashing.
Something was there.
That's unintentional. Then after that, I was like, okay, well, something should be showing up. We should have some sort of video, some sort of picture.
I don't agree with that part.
100%.
We think that we need video proof of everything, but if we had video proof, we wouldn't even believe it if we saw it.
Maybe.
So I don't really know that matters.
Maybe not.
And if you really are paralyzed by the aliens, I don't know if that's true or not, but people who've been abducted claim that that's how it happens.
Before the probe. And we love it. That's
before or after, one or the other.
That was a great tabs take. We appreciate it. Tab of the Hassle. I'm Vic Faust. Eric Johnson with the day off. Ty Dennis was in studio. Brad Young to start the show when it came to the Trump situation. Pro Joe taking care of the engineering boards. And of course, our very own Lizzie Sparks joining us live from Lake of the Ozarks, taking care of all of the chat line today. The show is called Cancel This, cancelthisshow.com. You can catch us Monday through Friday, of course, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, but all the time on our website. The video platforms are there. The audio platforms are there. We love it when you like and subscribe to us. It helps us with all the algorithms. It makes us go out to more people when you like, when you subscribe, when you hit that thumbs up. On the audio side of the podcast, you know what? You can send those to people as well, just like a straight text. We'd love it when you do that as well. And one of the areas that we hit, besides paranormal, besides politics, before it's news headlines, business and society, is cancel culture education. And one of those situations happened all that not too long ago for the former Mumford Sons guitarist, super popular band worldwide, Winston Marshall. He was a rock star. I mean, living his dream, loving life, doing what he loved to do, singing, playing guitar, traveling the world, making music, everything that he wanted to do. Well, he got canceled. And now he's a free speech champion with his own podcast, trying to bring light to situations because he was literally pummeled by the mob regarding a tweet because he was showing support, just support, not attacking anybody, but showing support for journalist Andy Nego's anti-Antifa book. It's called Unmasked. So he's showing support for an author who was writing something, dare write something against Antifa. Well, the whole situation came to a head, and he was forced to quit the band. And it was unfortunate because everything that he wanted to do then went out the window. He said, quote, "It was quite a painful experience being canceled. My world sort of blew up over the course of just a couple of days, and my life seemed to pretty much fall apart." So then what did he do? He was trying to pull himself out of it. He decided he wasn't going to go down easy. He walked away from one of the world's most popular bands and successful bands because of the whole situation. He just wanted his life back. And not only was the mob tearing him up, they were tearing his band up. So he started a podcast on situations that happen in today's world, similar to that. So kudos to Winston for doing that.
Yes.
He says he's happy to say that he's rebuilt his life and he's doing some exciting things, including his podcast. He calls it Marshall Matters.
Oh, I love it.
Marshall Matters. And just trying to get the things out there that he can possibly do. He just said that it's unfortunate because he's like, we've turned now where the censor-seriousness comes from the progressives. Literally flat on the progressives. He says the only real way to deal with it is to not be scared, not to apologize when you've done nothing wrong, to not be scared of the mob, and to stand your ground. Quote, stand your ground, stand by your convictions. So Marshall has turned over a new leaf in his life. He's no longer playing with Mumford Sons. He's now hosting a podcast, Marshall Matters, trying to bring light to situations like the one that he had to deal with. He finally says, quote, they have too much to lose. Everybody wants to be a rock star, musician, and very few people get to do it. So I can understand why people want to protect that.
No question.
Thoughts? You're always going after Antifa.
I've never heard of Mumford and Sons, but I'm glad. I'm happy of the message. I'm glad they're doing something positive and standing up for themselves. I mean, that's what we all have to do and need to do.
Are you familiar with this book against Antifa, Showings Unmasked? I thought you might have been aware of the book Unmasked.
I'm not, but I love that somebody's doing something like that. It needs to be done because I'll tell you what, Antifa, they're just at their beginning stages. They are a militia. They, again, like I said earlier, are weaponized, and they're backed by people like Soros. They're backed and funded with a lot of money. And in my opinion, I can't state this for a fact, it's my opinion that Antifa is directly related to the attacks on our power stations. They're directly related to the attacks on our freight trains and all the derailments that we've had. I wouldn't be surprised if Antifa didn't start the fires in Canada. I think that they are involved in a lot of the chaos and destruction that's taking place in this country.
Well, it was just, and keep in mind, it's a book called Unmasked, and what a clever title for a book. And all this guy was doing, all Marshall was doing was saying, hey, this guy has a right to write a book.
Yes, he does.
Because the author was going after trying to uncover, quote, unmask what they do, because we all know what Antifa does.
And they are running this country right now. I mean, quite literally.
What do you mean running the country? That's
well, like I explained it
earlier. By the way, Antifa is real, even though our current president stood on a debate stage and tried to say that Antifa was not.
Well, Antifa, they are the 2% I refer to often on the very far fringe left. Those folks are the ones who won the election for Biden, as I explained earlier, and therefore Biden and our government, the Democrat regime, they owe them for that win. They got them back out. They got us out of the White House. By us, it's not just Trump, it's the People's Party. You know, they are right back where they started, trying to destroy this country. And I have no doubt in my mind that Antifa is behind much of the chaos and destruction we experience.
We appreciate you guys jumping in. cancelthisshow.com. Those are some of the topics. One thing that I wanted to cover right before we left today too, and I'm not trying to pile on it because we're not doing a whole nother show about it. Tabitha may lean over here and strangle my neck, even though I do believe you have to bring this stuff up when it happens. We did a whole show last week in regards to cancel culture when it comes to Target, Kohl's, Budweiser, the things that are going on, the scores that companies have to have, throwing things at you, throwing things at your kids when it comes to sex agenda, when it comes to transgender, when it comes to surgeries, whatever you want to be, do it. We were just saying, hey, we got a problem when you come after our kids. Leave the damn kids alone. Go do what you want to do. Leave the kids alone. Well, somebody else has jumped into the mix now, because now apparently Kellogg's, they want to get that ESG score up. And Kellogg's now has Tony the Tiger taking pictures with Dylan Mulvaney. Frosted Flakes has just done it. They couldn't stay quiet. They couldn't stay still. I don't know if sales were down, up, whatever, but we know this is not a good look. But if you go and take pictures with Dylan Mulvaney after everything that's happened as a breakfast cereal, who are you targeting? You're targeting kids.
No question. No,
it's all about targeting the damn kid. Leave the kids alone. So put Kellogg's right there on the list. Ironically, talk about cancel culture. You're not forced to buy anything in life. They have their right to make their money, but we're just telling you, before you make those buying decisions, you have every right to do something else. And by the way, do you really want all that sugary? I mean, yeah, it can be good. I loved Frosted Flakes, but you know what? Frosted Flakes.
You speak with your money, don't you?
You ask
speak
Target,
with your dollars.
Ask Bud Light, ask Kohl's. It happens. So Kellogg's now, and I couldn't find the pictures, but the report came out that they were doing the photo shoot, Dylan Mulvaney next to Tony the Tiger.
And it's not about, we've said this so many times, it's not about gay. It's not even about transgender, cross-dress. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about people targeting and grooming children. It's wrong. It causes psychological problems. It has to stop. It has to stop. But it's not stopping because look at Bud Light doubling down.
Well, yeah.
They're not doing
they doubled down.
They doubled down on it. They don't care. They don't care if they lose their money.
And we appreciate it, guys. Tomorrow morning we have Dr. Gil Vardy back in, one of the country's top cardiologists. He'll be in tomorrow. There's another just fascinating technology that's out there to help people who are sick. You may have a loved one when it comes to the heart, when it comes to everything from a staying healthy standpoint. We'll get into that tomorrow. Thank you for joining us for this episode of canceltheshow.com. Once again, if you have ideas, we're looking for partners, people to partner with, even if it's just for a few months, sponsorships, donations. You can donate at canceltheshow.com. You go to the menu button. There's a donate button as well. If you have ideas, we're just trying to grow as big as we can. And it takes money. It takes backing to do those sorts of things so that we can continue to bring you the free speech and all of the information and topics that we're trying to do from an entertainment value. So please contact us. Let us know if you have any ideas or if you know anybody that would love to help from a local standpoint or a national standpoint. For Lizzie Sparks, who's live at the lake doing all of the wonderful live chatting that she's been doing. Pro Joe, Tabitha Hassel, I'm Vic Faust. Have an awesome day. That does it for this June 12th podcast.